Let's turn back to California, where closing arguments continue in the felony assault trial for A AP Relli. The rapper is facing up to 24 years in prison. He's convicted of firing a gun at his former friend, Terell Ephron, following a heated altercation back in 2021. We want to take you back into court. We are still hearing from the defense attorney give his closing argument to the jury, and everything seems to be going along normally until it starts to get testy. Let's watch.
Obviously, Rakim knew that was false and was shocked because that really would be made a claim. So, which is why Rakim wrote back. I tried to lie. The fact that during this trial, Rakim didn't mention in his message anything about his prop gun. They don't consider one thing though about that. They don't consider one thing. Unlike Relli, Rakim didn't have a reason at the time he sent that message about stop making shit up. He didn't have a reason at the time, or think he needed a reason to create a record of events for some later date. At the time he sent those messages, Rakim thought they were between the two of them. And he knew why Relli understood his claim wasn't true, because it wasn't true. Rakim didn't shoot him and was aware that Relli knew he didn't shoot him because a prop gun doesn't shoot bullets. A STAR pistol doesn't shoot bullets. Yes, sir.
Stop.
Okay.
You want to finish the thought?
If I could, just a thought.
Finish the thought, and then we'll take a break.
And then this is the perfect place to break. And that's why after learning soon thereafter that Relli was contacting his manager trying to extort money from him, Rakim was done communicating with Relli. He stopped answering completely and said, go to the police. And what kind of person tells someone to go to the police if they know they've committed a crime? Your Honor, I could resume from here and come back.
All right, we'll take a break until 11 o'clock, folks. Please don't discuss the case amongst yourselves and everybody else. And we'll see you in 15 minutes.
Not exactly sure yet what is happening. The jury is being sent out. It's unusual during closing arguments, number one, for there to be objections unless it's something egregious, and number two, for a jury to be sent out like this during closing arguments. But certainly we're going to wait and see what the judge has to say, what the reason is, and how the attorneys for each side handle it. Let's see if we're ready to go back in. If not, I will bring in Bob Bianchi. Bob, hang on, Bob, stand by. I understand that we can go back into court.
Unequivocally, do not mention the prosecution's verdict. Here's a quote. On an objection, you overrule. The prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. It's improper, it's unethical, you said you're not going to tolerate it, and I object, and you make it clear to the jury that my objection you find annoying. It's very clear that the tone that we get when we make an objection that should be sustained is, what are you doing? That's what was said. You specifically...
Lower your voice and don't yell at me. I told you before. I'll listen to what you say. Speak in a normal tone of voice.
Judge, we're doing the best we can to make sure that this trial is ethically conducted. They have repeated, I've objected, you told them it's improper. You overruled repeated objections where they are saying improper things. He just said a moment ago, this is a direct quote, the prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. I object. You respond, that's appropriate comment on the evidence. It is not appropriate comment on the evidence, Your Honor. I don't know if you didn't hear it.
I didn't hear that.
So, Judge,
what describing Relli as committing perjury.
Judge, that's a direct quote. The direct quote was, the prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. Here's another one. Relli committed extortion. There is no legal...
Do you think the jury's going to ask for what the legal description of extortion is?
Your Honor.
Forcing someone to pay money, that is, quote, extortion.
No, Your Honor.
Go on to something else.
No, I want to make my record. I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do, but I have a right to make my record. No lawyer can get up here. No lawyer can get up here and tell the jury that a crime has been committed when there is no instruction on that crime. And when the board is saying, well, what do they don't care about it?
No, I didn't say they don't care about it.
It's improper. It's improper argument. And the problem is
I don't agree with you. I think using the word, quote, extortion to describe the conduct is not improper. I think it's fair comment on the evidence. You, in your rebuttal argument, you can say it wasn't extortion. You can address it.
Your Honor, the bigger issue, as I said, is the court was repeatedly told them, do not connect the prosecution to committing crime.
I'll tell you what, I didn't hear that. I'm going to ask Kathy for the exact quote. If that's what was said, I'm going to sustain your objection, and I will apologize for overruling.
Judge, respond, please, on that one issue. Not everything else he said. What I said was, and I agree what I said, but understand the context of it, okay? But I didn't say this is more perfect. I didn't say it yesterday, I didn't say it today. But one thing I said, and it was fair to comment, was the prosecution accepts their witness committed perjury. And what I mean by that is in regards to one thing, and it's indisputable, Your Honor. It was regarding Relli saying the tape was fake. The tape was fake. They got up, cross-examined Mr. Sajemi, did not ask him if the tape was fake or not. Okay? They then put up transcripts of that tape recording with attributions to Mr. Ephron. So that means by that, just by that very fact, they accept the fact that he committed perjury. I'm not saying they support it, but they accept that that witness committed perjury. They have to. Let me finish. There's no other way for them to move forward unless they say that wasn't perjury, but it was because he said that was fake. We know that wasn't fake. It was real. That was perjury. So by then moving forward with it, arguing that the tape is important for the prosecution, that Ephron said these things, that when they cross-examined Sajemi, that wasn't being a good friend to Ephron because he made a tape. All that is doing is, I didn't say this is warning, it's different. I would never say that. I didn't say it yesterday. What it is doing is accepting it because they didn't say, you know, we have an issue with this witness, he's committed perjury. It's accept. I said they accepted their witnesses committing perjury. That witness committing perjury on that one issue. That's fair comment, Your Honor. It's not inappropriate. It wasn't disparaging counsel. I didn't say Mr. Lewin. I just said they accepted, and that is true. That there's no other way around it.
It is not fair comment. It is completely unethical.
I agree with you.
So, Your Honor,
I agree with you.
What's frightening is Mr. Tacchino just stood up here and basically defended it. Said, yeah, I said it, but I can say it. He doesn't know or care about the law. That is clear. And, Your Honor, when it's happened 25 times in this trial, with the hiding of evidence, with the late discovery, and with repeated, you told counsel before we started, do not disparage the other side. I said yesterday, you argue what you want about witnesses. You say a witness lied. You do not disparage counsel. You repeated it yesterday. He tried to explain how he didn't make mistakes yesterday, which he did. Now he gets up and he's now admitted, yes, I made that comment. Here's why it's appropriate. Your Honor, it's not appropriate. It's completely unethical. It is immoral, and it's not professional. And again, Your Honor, the fact that he is getting up here saying, yeah, I said it, here's why, just demonstrates again he doesn't know the law or doesn't care.
You're disparaging him right now.
I'm disparaging him because, Your Honor, he's not following the
There is not to be any disparaging of either side.
During argument, the jury's not here. I have every right, obligation, and duty to stand up here and point out that he is being unethical. The first time the court catches me being unethical, Your Honor, the court knows that'll be the first time. Court knows I don't do that.
Oh,
Court knows. Court's already made.
I've heard enough from both of you. I missed the prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. I don't think that's fair comment on the evidence. I think that's an improper statement. It infers that the prosecution is allowing perjury to occur. I'm going to sustain your objection, and I'm going to apologize for overruling it, and then move on. If I were the two of you, I would just move on and not make bring it to the jury's attention. I would point out, though, I told you at the beginning of arguments that if an objection is made, I'm going to do my best to call it as I see it. You have made 17 objections. I have overruled 12. I have sustained 5. I'm doing the best I can. I will continue to do the best I can, and that's all I can say.
I just want to put on the record that, these remarks about being unethical is not just about having with him. This from a lawyer who, and I was saying yesterday on it, this from a lawyer who asked the perfect jury for a stipulation that a shooting range was not in California when either he knew it was in California or had no idea that it was in California. Okay? So he literally asked for a stipulation in front of a jury that he knew was not true or didn't know if it was true. And that's unethical.
One thing out of him, and we air everything that's happened in this case, which the court's aware of.
Stop.
He might want to stop.
I'm so pleased.
You should be, Joe.
Let's take a break.
You should be.
Fireworks. And Bob, if I were the judge, I'd be furious. I would do what the judge started with John Lewin. Lower your voice. Do not yell at me. And Lewin can't help himself. This is the prosecutor. He did it again. But my real question for you, Bob, is how do you feel if you're making closing argument and the prosecutor says that you are being unethical and improper in your closing?
Yeah, I mean, Judge, first off, I think you know this from our previous commentary. I cannot stand this guy, Lewin. He irritates me beyond comprehension, not just in this case, but in other cases that we've covered. He is such a poor prosecutor. And the fact that that office had to call him to come and assist in this is just amazing to me. He is a bombastic, his commentary is out of control. And here's the thing, as a prosecutor for many years myself, he's letting the defense get under his skin. He is doing exactly what the defense wants. And in this game, I know as a prosecutor, I gotta be even keeled. I've gotta be it's not an even playing field.
Be the adult.
I have to be the adult because I'm the one who's asking the jury to do a dramatic thing. And basically they know what the consequences of this decision are. Tacopina is doing exactly what he should as a lawyer. And I agree with you. The judge was right in the beginning to spank the prosecutor down, but then kind of capitulated at the end. There was nothing that the defense lawyers said that's unfair comment, that was immoral or unethical. This prosecutor
Witnesses and detectives taking the stand. ASAP Rocky, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, faces felony charges for...
From California, rapper A$AP Rocky declines a plea deal on the eve of the start of his trial. The rapper, whose real name is Rakim Mayers, is charged with 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. The deal would have sent him to jail for 180 days, but he now faces up to 24 years in prison if he's convicted.
So ASAP Rocky is officially on trial, and Rihanna is reportedly struggling to hold it together. Word is, she's been looking downcast lately, and it's no surprise. Her partner, father of her kids, and rumored husband could potentially miss out on their sons' birthdays for the next 20-plus years. Rocky's trial has officially kicked off, and it's already turning into a spectacle. From the judge allegedly flirting with Rocky's mom, to explosive witness testimonies, and Rocky's legal team pulling unexpected moves that have prosecutors scrambling, this case is already packed with drama. But the biggest twist? The prosecution offered Rocky a plea deal. He could plead guilty to just 1 felony assault charge, receive a suspended sentence, attend anger management classes, and complete community service. But instead of taking the deal, Rocky turned it down. This decision has completely divided the internet. Some people think he made a huge mistake by rejecting what they're calling an easy way out. Others argued that the deal was unfair since Rocky maintains his innocence and shouldn't plead guilty to something he didn't do. Then there's another group comparing this situation to Tory Lanez's case, saying that if Tory got 10 years behind bars, things aren't looking great for Rocky. But is the situation really that dire? And what's Rihanna's role in all of this? For those who haven't been following closely, A AP Rocky is currently on trial for allegedly firing a gun at his former friend, A AP Relli, a fellow member of his ASAP crew. You'd think this would be a straightforward case. Either Rocky did it or he didn't. But this case has more twists than a soap opera. Many on the internet are already questioning why this trial is even happening in the first place. According to reports, the whole situation started over a fight between Rocky and Relli. The alleged beef? Relli believed Rocky didn't pay for the funeral expenses of a fellow crew member who had passed away. For some context, before Rocky became the global rap star we know today, he was part of the ASAP Mob, a Harlem-based collective that was founded in 2006. The group helped launch his career, and the ASAP in his name comes from that affiliation. But clearly, things within the crew haven't been all smooth sailing, and now it's turned into a full-blown legal battle. The ASAP Mob was a collective of rappers, producers, designers, and creatives who all shared the ASAP moniker in their names. Think ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ferg, ASAP 12V, ASAP Relli, and so on. Given Rocky's massive success and wealth compared to the rest of the group, he naturally became the most recognizable face of the crew. With that status, many members assumed he would step up financially for the group when needed. So, when a fellow ASAP Mob member passed away in 2021, there was an expectation that Rocky would handle some, if not all, of the funeral expenses. However, ASAP Relli believed Rocky had turned his back on the crew and refused to cover the costs. This led to a confrontation between the two in Los Angeles, just a block away from the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Things quickly escalated into a heated argument, and at one point, Rocky allegedly pulled out a firearm and aimed it at Relli. There's surveillance footage capturing part of the altercation, which shows the two men getting physical before someone steps in to separate them. The video also appears to show Rocky drawing his weapon, only to tuck it away again. However, Relli claims the situation didn't end there. According to him, Rocky pulled the gun out a second time and fired at him, grazing his knuckles with a bullet. He says he later sought medical treatment once he returned to Los Angeles. But here's where things get suspicious. Relli didn't report the incident to the police until days later. Naturally, this has raised some red flags. If someone was genuinely shot at and injured, wouldn't they immediately seek help and file a report? The delay in reporting has become a major point in Rocky's defense, with his legal team arguing that the allegations are exaggerated, if not entirely false. Adding to the complications, the available footage of the incident is blurry and incomplete, making it difficult to confirm exactly what went down. That means the case is now largely relying on witness testimony. But so far, Relli, who is the prosecution's key witness, hasn't exactly been convincing. In fact, many of Rocky's supporters believe Relli is simply bitter and trying to take advantage of the situation. They see him as a disloyal friend who aired out internal crew business instead of keeping things private. Online, people are calling him a snitch, accusing him of trying to bring Rocky down over personal grudges. Rocky's defense team is leaning into this argument. During opening statements, his attorney, Joe Tacopina, told the jury, "This case is about one man's jealousy, lies, and greed. This is nothing more than an attempted extortion. Period. End of story." But that's just one of many controversies surrounding the trial. One of the biggest talking points so far is the jury selection. The trial officially began on January 24th, and the jury consists of 7 women and 5 men. But what's raising eyebrows? Not a single juror is black. Given that both Rocky and Relli are black, and the trial is taking place in Los Angeles, a city with a significant black population, many are questioning how the jury ended up lacking any black representation. Fans have taken to social media to voice their concerns, arguing that the selection process seems unfair. Even civil rights activist Reverend Al Sharpton has weighed in, calling out the lack of diversity in the jury and questioning whether Rocky will truly get a fair trial. The controversy surrounding the jury's composition is just another layer of drama in what's shaping up to be a highly scrutinized case. Reverend Al Sharpton weighed in on the trial, expressing concerns about the lack of diversity in the jury selection. He stated, "I've been in contact with ASAP Rocky's friends, and while I don't know every detail of the case, I do know he deserves a fair trial, judged by his peers, as guaranteed by the Constitution. It's outrageous that out of 106 jurors in Los Angeles, not a single black person was in the first 30 candidates. Something about this system isn't right." But the jury isn't the only issue raising eyebrows. The police investigation itself has been questioned. When Relli finally reported the alleged shooting, law enforcement thoroughly searched the scene but found no evidence, including shell casings. However, after the police had completed their search, Relli reportedly returned to the location and then managed to find shell casings, which he handed over as evidence. The fact that a trained investigative team found nothing, yet Relli later discovered key evidence, has led many to doubt his claims. Rocky's supporters argue that it's a weak case based on questionable evidence, making it difficult for the prosecution to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Adding to the drama, Rocky shocked everyone by rejecting a plea deal offered by prosecutors. He's currently facing 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, with a possible sentence of up to 24 years in prison if convicted. Many expected him to take the deal, which included pleading guilty to 1 count of felony assault, 6 months in jail, a 7-year suspended sentence, 3 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, and anger management classes. While some believe Rocky should have accepted the deal, since it would keep him out of prison as long as he followed the terms, others support his decision to fight the charges in court. His fans argue that if he maintains his innocence, he deserves a chance to clear his name. There's also the impact on his career. According to sources close to Rocky, taking the deal could mean losing major endorsement contracts with brands like Gucci and Puma, missing out on events like the Met Gala, and most importantly, being unable to tour. That could be a career-ending blow, making the stakes even higher as he fights to prove his innocence. A source close to Rocky added that accepting the plea deal would have put him under strict conditions for over 8 years, with a felony charge permanently on his record. While it seemed like a safer option than risking 24 years in prison, Rocky and his team believed there was a real chance he could walk away without jail time or a criminal record, making it worth the fight. So far, the courtroom proceedings suggest that Rocky may have the upper hand, but just when things seemed to be in his favor, a major twist changed everything. Rocky's defense team argued that there was no real firearm involved, only a prop gun. His lawyer, Joe Tacopina, told the jury that Rocky had fired a starter pistol, a noise-making device he carried for protection after previous security threats. According to Tacopina, Rocky fired 2 shots in the air to scare off Relli and protect his friend Ills, who was also present during the altercation. However, the prosecution countered this claim, arguing that Rocky fired an actual 9mm semi-automatic pistol. They even played a 911 call from a woman who allegedly witnessed the incident and presented a photo of the supposed weapon. But here's where things got messy. When police raided Rocky's home after his arrest, they found multiple legally registered firearms, but not the 9mm the prosecution claimed he used. So where did this alleged gun come from? The prosecution then surprised everyone by revealing a ballistics report they claimed linked Rocky to the shooting. His legal team was caught off guard, arguing they hadn't been given proper notice to review the findings. The judge, however, refused to delay the trial, giving Rocky just 1 day to have an expert review the report, paid for by the court, but on an extremely tight deadline. Now, some fans are questioning whether Rocky should have taken the plea deal. Many are comparing his case to Tory Lanez, who was convicted in 2022 of shooting Megan Thee Stallion and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Initially, Tory's case seemed to lean in his favor, but after a failed PR campaign and overwhelming evidence against him, he faced a harsh sentence. Rocky's case, however, has some key differences. Unlike Tory, Rocky is married to a beloved global superstar, Rihanna, and has maintained a positive media image. His legal team is pushing back hard, and the case against him lacks solid evidence. Even the judge seems somewhat biased, as he was openly flirting with Rocky's mother in court, despite claiming celebrity status wouldn't influence the trial. Meanwhile, sources say Rihanna is struggling to cope with the stress of the trial. Despite keeping up appearances, she has been feeling the pressure since Rocky's dramatic 2022 airport arrest, while she was heavily pregnant. Now, with the trial being televised and every detail scrutinized by the public, the stakes are even higher. What do you think? Does Rocky stand a chance of beating the case, or is he in serious trouble? Drop your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for more updates.
Trial was intense. The defense finished up their closing argument, and the state's insufferable rebuttal begins. Deliberations are set to start today as you're watching this video. Even though I think there's some doubt in this case, I still think it's a coin flip to put your life in a jury's hands. No one really knows what they're thinking, but I have a feeling it's going to take around 3 to 10 hours or so for a verdict. That's my guess, but could be a lot quicker, could be a lot longer. Comment down below what you guys think and subscribe. Here we go, boys. All right, defense is starting back up.
For his testimony, I would submit to you that's perhaps the most unbelievable witness in the history of American jurisprudence, a perjury machine. Again, they could have corroborated a lot of his testimony if he were truthful. Lydia Parker, they sat in their hands for years. They could have tested to see if Relli shell casings.
Bro called him a perjury machine.
They didn't connect Rocky Relli's shell casings with fingerprints DNA. Why keep it for 5 months? In plain sight. I mean, that's where it was, right? It's not like it was hidden somewhere in the house they had to find. It was in a box in his bedroom with all the other ammunition, the legally registered guns, in plain view. They didn't show you, by the way, that the shell casings that Relli claims he recovered at the scene don't match the 6 shell casings found in Rocky's house. Relli claims he First, he said he wasn't in Los Angeles weeks before, but he claimed he left Los Angeles after he had shooting range for those 9/11 shell casings, and then he came back to Los Angeles 2 weeks later. They failed to prove that. I mean, you just have his word, right? That would have been easy enough to prove. I mean, how about an airplane ticket or anything else that he ever left Los Angeles and flew back, ever? So where did he get his shell casings from? At 11:45 p.m. that night. They didn't, and that's not on him. That is not on him, because they didn't give you the evidence you could have been comfortable to rely on, as opposed to just taking Relli's word. Whether he had him at some apartment in Los Angeles or at some friend's car or some place, who knows? We'll never know. We could have known, but we don't, and we never will.
So he's pointing out evidence the prosecution didn't show.
They could have called Ephron's girlfriend, Lydia Parker, who was allegedly with Ephron when he claims he retrieved shell casings.
I literally said this in yesterday's video. They could have called her to corroborate the shell casing situation.
They could have collected GPS data from that night from Ephron's phone to prove he returned to the scene. They looked at the metadata on the photographs that Ephron took of these shell casings, which would have shown exactly where he was when he took those photos. These are things they could have done to corroborate him. They could have produced a plane ticket or receipt to show that Ephron actually left Los Angeles. They could have called his ASAP Bari to corroborate the conversation that he allegedly had, that allegedly happened on November 5th, the day before the incident, with Bari and Rocky, in which Relli claims Rocky badmouthed him. No phone records of that, nothing. Then, of course, they could have tested Ephron's casings to see if they came from the magazine found at Rocky's house prior to the trial. Of course, they could have tested Rocky's DNA against those casings or the magazine. He tried to extort money out of Rocky, like on Rocky and his manager first. And I want to remind you that there are two hurdles the prosecution has to overcome to conviction. First, proving that Rocky did not carry the property. And then, of course, certainly they can't do that beyond a reasonable doubt. I mean, close. Of course, the judge instructions told you should stop right there if you find that. You must find not guilty if the prosecution had not disproved that he acted in self-defense or defense of another beyond reasonable doubt.
If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. I appreciate the support. Back to the video, boys.
The judge gave you the instruction on it, not because he was doing you a favor. The judge gave you the instruction on it because there's a view of the evidence that supports it. Right there, property. You shouldn't even get to self-defense. But it's there. It's another layer that they have to overcome beyond a reasonable doubt. When they claimed that Relli used bills as a human shield, what they did not want you to see was after it was all done and Rocky's out of the picture, Relli's already running out. They cut Relli running back towards Ills and attacking Ills again. So the human shield thing is no longer there. Everyone's out of the picture.
They actually did cut that. You'll see.
Goes back and takes one more parting shot at Ills to the left before he goes off to the right. Of course, they don't want you to see that. That's very damning to their case. When Relli claimed he was in the car with ASAP Bari and supposedly heard Rocky say, at that end, Relli, I'll beat him up. First of all, Rocky is coming, saying he's going to beat Relli up in any lifetime. He's not, I think Relli called, made fun of him, made fun of his manhood, told him some derogatory name. And what's the proof of that? What's the proof of that conversation that started it all, that showed Rocky's the aggressor? No text messages, no phone records, no recorded statements, no other witnesses, and of course the one guy who heard it, ASAP Bari, who Relli says still a predator, they weren't in here. Say, yeah, that's what Rocky said.
Oh, sure. They didn't call Bari in to corroborate that. Bari probably wouldn't even come in, but if you know who Bari is in his past. Actually, I don't think the state would call him based on his past, if you know what I mean.
There was nothing aggressive about these messages. He heard the calls. They were late for this Playboy Cardi concert, whatever that is.
Whatever that is. He doesn't know who Cardi is? Come on, bro. How you not know who Cardi is?
He was trying to connect with Relli.
So he's just trying to switch the narrative here. More doubt that Rocky was even the aggressor.
When the prosecution showed you those texts, they wanted you to believe that those were the first messages of November 6, 2021. What you learned was that Relli deleted the messages before that. The early messages that showed Relli's true character, his true animosity, his true aggression towards Rocky, his true intentions of meeting Rocky that night. He deleted messages before giving his phone to the police. You got all this fake animosity towards me, LOL, beat me up, and I wish you would. Give me a reason, and you've been, whatever. You see what it says? That word. Relli made clear he wanted a reason to fight Rocky. He made it clear there. Matter of fact, his testimony made it clear. He said, from his trial testimony, those were the first messages of they presented the other messages from Rocky as the only messages that day. He didn't fit his narrative, so what he did? Deleted them.
I mean, Relli deleting messages was crazy. That is the most suspect red flag shit ever, and he admitted it several times. Like,
if Rocky don't do shit for this boy at the funeral, I'ma beat that end up. He's now ready to beat Rocky up because he didn't think you heard what that was all about this.
Switching the narrative more, because that was the reason why they were fighting, apparently, was over this ASAP Josh's funeral. Defense has messages of Relli threatening to beat him up. It's good for their whole narrative there.
Relli's willingness to lie to you over and over again without regard to his oath to tell the truth. He said the message about beating up Rocky, he lied again. Falling back on his usual answer, I don't recall. So I then asked Relli if in that message that he said, if the N-word in his text message, I'm gonna beat that N up, referred to Rocky. And you know what his answer was? I don't recall. because he knew that that message showed his animosity towards Rocky, it showed his aggression, and it showed his intent. That's why we had to bring that message out. I had to show you that. That didn't come on direct. July 24th, FU and ASAP, fake ass N, effing goofy. Make no mistake about this. Relli was jealous of Rocky and his success. He wanted the world to think he was successful. I mean, that's why we went through these Instagram posts of his with his lavish lifestyle and lots of cash and private planes and all the stuff he posted. If I said FU, it was sort of wishy-washy with love.
If I said F you, it was wishy-washy with love.
No matter how much N tried, you're not changing. And everything about you, you fake ass N, I get hate you, suck it. I'm not even gonna read this disgusting thing, but this is what he said. No, he doesn't say F you to Rocky. Only wishy-washy with love. There's nothing he doesn't lie about. There's absolutely nothing he doesn't lie about. His actions on November 6, 2021 make it clear. His actions in this court make it clear. When I was questioning him, he became hostile, volatile, and aggressive. At one point, he flexed his muscles. He cursed in the courtroom. That was first for me. He yelled. He thought I was disrespecting him by asking questions. He looked like he was ready to jump off that stand, man. And that was in front of you in the courtroom. And just imagine what he's like in the street. It doesn't take too much imagination when his actions were caught on video. Photographs of cameras there after the incident. I went back. I think photographs of cameras. Well, you know if that were true, you would have seen those photographs.
I didn't even think about that. They didn't show the photographs that he took.
Apart from his word, there's absolutely no evidence that Relli ever photographed a single camera at the scene. And that's the last thing he wanted was for the police to see what was actually happening with these altercations. In fact, although he again first tried to hide behind
They should be here. They should be on any minute. I don't know why they're not. Not sure why they're not on. I will remove my ugly mug when they come on. I don't know why I can't make this smaller. I don't really like where it's at. All right, I'm going to put a poll up on X. I'll put a poll up on X and let's see how many people think that he's guilty or not. Okay. Man, they are late, always late. There's somebody probably telling Rocky and reread the verdict before they even get there. Come on, come on. %100% innocent money grab. Yeah, yeah. Yep, nothing this court has ever done has been on time, unfortunately. And I would like to Since it's the end, I would like to say no matter how much money you have or no matter your status, if you're in a court of law, everybody in America, everybody should get to see it. Gwyneth Paltrow, Johnny Depp. Why was this court so much of the cameras cut out? While streaming this trial, I sat around more waiting for them to even stick to half of a schedule that was laid out. It's I don't agree. I don't think money and status should make a difference. It's not a federal case. So that was my little dirty laundry I aired. I don't like it. And I see they're late, 10 minutes late. I heard Donna Adelson's been begging the judge. Well, while we're waiting, let me see if I can find a quick short of Rocky. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. It is past wine time here. I'll be right back. What could be taking so long? They didn't like the verdict, so they're changing it? It's nuts. I'm going to hop on and see what Law and Crime has to say. This is so crazy. We're still waiting for a verdict. Half an hour later. Oh my God, this is annoying. This is horrible. I feel like if I turn anything on, it'll come on or people will leave because they changed it. But I've been sitting here for an hour more, almost a little over 2 hours waiting for a damn verdict. Okay, since they're taking so long, I don't know how many of you actually saw the short hearing they had this morning regarding the kind of argument the attorneys had yesterday in court. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. As soon as they show up, I will switch right back to the verdict.
ASAP Rocky. The rapper is facing up to 24 years in prison if he's convicted of firing a gun at his former friend, Terell Ephron, following a heated altercation back in 2021. We want to take you back into court. We are still hearing everything seems to be going along normally until it starts to get testy. Let's watch.
Rocky knew that was false and was shocked that Relli would even make a claim, so which is why Rocky wrote back. I tried to lie. The fact that during this trial, Rocky didn't mention in his message anything about his prop gun. They don't consider one thing though about that. They don't consider one thing. I was about to stop making shit up. He didn't have a reason at the time, or think he needed a reason to create a record of events for some later date. At the time he sent those messages, Rocky thought they were between the two of them. And he knew why Relli understood his claim wasn't true, because it wasn't true. Rocky didn't shoot him and was aware that Relli knew he didn't shoot him because... Yes, sir.
Stop.
Okay.
You want to finish the thought?
If I could, just a thought.
Finish the thought, and then we'll take
And then that's the perfect place to break. And that's why after learning soon thereafter that Relli was contacting his manager trying to extort money from him, Rocky was done communicating with Relli. He stopped answering completely and said, go to the police. And what kind of person tells someone to go to the police if they know they're committing a crime? I could resume from here and come back.
All right, we'll take a break until 11 o'clock, folks. Please take the special case amongst yourselves and everybody else. And we'll see.
Not exactly sure yet what is happening. The jury is being sent out. It's unusual during closing arguments, number one, for there to be objections unless it's something egregious, and number two, for a jury to be sent out like this during closing arguments. But certainly we're going to wait and see what the judge has to say, what the reason is, and how the attorneys for each side handle it. Let's see if we're ready to go back in. If not, I will bring in Bob Bianc. We can go back into court.
Unequivocally, do not mention the prosecution's version. Here's a quote. On an objection, you overrule. The prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. It's improper, it's unethical, you said you're not going to tolerate it, and I object, and you make it clear to the jury that my objection you find annoying. It's very clear that the tone that we get when we make an objection that should be sustained is, what are you doing? That's what was said. You specifically...
Lower your voice and don't yell at me. I told you before. I'll listen to what you say. Speak in a normal tone of voice.
Judge, we're doing the best we can to make sure that this trial is ethically conducted. They have repeated, I've objected, you told them it's improper. We've overruled repeated objections where they are saying improper things. He just said a moment ago, this is a direct quote, the prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. I object. You respond, that's appropriate comment on the evidence. It is not appropriate comment on the evidence, Your Honor. I don't know if you didn't hear it.
I didn't hear that.
So, Judge,
What I heard, I could have been wrong, what I heard was that Mr. Tacopina was describing Relli as committing perjury.
Judge, that's a direct quote. The direct quote was, the prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. Here's another one. Relli committed extortion. There is no legal...
Do you think the jury's going to ask for what the legal description of extortion is?
Your Honor.
Forcing someone to pay money, that is, quote, extortion.
Your Honor.
Go on to something else.
I want to make my record. I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do, but I would like to make my record. No lawyer can say that a crime has been committed when there is... When in fact, Your Honor, that's not the legal definition of extortion. We've objected, and the court again is basically telling me, don't worry about it, it doesn't matter. Your Honor, it does matter after a while, when there are so many. What do they don't care about it?
No, I didn't say that they don't care about it.
It seems, Your Honor, it's improper argument. And the problem is
I don't agree with you. I think using the word, quote, extortion to describe the conduct is not improper. I think it's fair comment on the evidence. Extortion. You can address it.
Your Honor, the bigger issue, as I said, is the court was repeatedly told them, do not connect the prosecution to committing corruption.
I'll tell you what, I didn't hear that. I'm going to ask Kathy for the exact quote. If that's what was said, I'm going to sustain your objection, and I will apologize for overruling.
Judge, I respond, please, on that one issue. Not everything else he said. What I said was, and I agree what I said, but understand the context of it. Okay, I said the prosecution accepts their witness committing perjury. And what I mean by that is in regards to one thing, and it's indisputable, Your Honor. It was regarding Relli saying the tape was fake. Okay, they then put up transcripts of that tape recording with attributions to Mr. Ephron. So that means by that, just by that very fact, they accept the fact that he committed perjury. I don't think they support it, but they accept that witness committed perjury. They have to. Let me finish. There's no other way for them to move forward unless they say that wasn't perjury, but it was because he said that was fake. We know it wasn't fake. It was real. That was perjury. So by then moving forward with it, arguing that that tape is important for the prosecution, that Ephron said these things, that when they cross-examined Sir Jimmy, that wasn't being a good friend to Ephron because he made a tape. All that is doing is, I didn't say this in warning, it's different. I would never say that. I didn't say yes. We have an issue with this witness. He's been perjured. It's I said they accepted their witnesses committing perjury. That witness committing perjury on that one issue. That's fair comment, Your Honor. It's not inappropriate. It wasn't disparaging counsel. I didn't say Mr. Lewin. I just said they accepted, and that is true. There's no other way around it.
It is not fair comment. It is completely unethical.
Oh,
I agree with you.
So, Your Honor,
I agree with you.
What's frightening is Mr. Tacopina just stood up here and basically defended, said, yeah, I said it. But I can say it. He doesn't know or care about the law. That is clear. And, Your Honor, when it's happened 5 times in this trial, with the hiding of evidence, with the late discovery, and with repeated, you told counsel before we started, do not disparage the other side. I said yesterday, you argue what you want about witnesses. You say a witness lied. He tried to explain how he didn't make mistakes. He made that comment. Here's why it's appropriate. Your Honor, it's not appropriate. It's completely unethical. It is immoral, and it's not. I said it. Here's why. Just demonstrates again he doesn't know the law or doesn't care.
You're disparaging him, right?
Because, Your Honor, he's not following the weirdness
Not to be any disparaging of either side.
during argument. The jury's not here. I have every right, obligation, and duty to stand up here and point out when he was being unethical. The first time the court catches me being unethical, Your Honor, the court knows that'll be the first time. The court knows I don't do that. Oh, court knows. Court's already made.
I've heard enough from both of you. I missed the prosecution acceptance. I think that's an improper statement. It infers that the prosecution is allowing perjury to occur. I'm going to sustain your objection, and I'm going to apologize for overruling it, and then move on. If I were the two of you, I would just move on and not make bring it to the jury's attention. I would point out, though, I told you at the beginning of argument, call it as I see it. You have made 17 objections. I've overruled 12. I have sustained 5. I'm doing the best I can. I will continue to do the best I can, and that's all I can say.
I just want to put on the record that, these remarks about being unethical is not just about having with him. This is from a lawyer who, and I was staying yesterday on it, this is from a lawyer who asked the perfect jury for a stipulation that a shooting range was not in California when either he knew it was in California or had no idea that it was in California. Okay? So he literally asked for a stipulation in front of a jury that he knew was not true or didn't know if it was true. And that's unethical. That's unethical. And this is a guy who, the Ninth Circuit just said lied to a jury in the Branford case.
Your Honor,
so
one more thing out of him, and we air everything that's happened in this case, which the court's aware of.
Stop.
He might want to stop.
I'm so threatened.
Let's take a break.
You should be.
Fireworks. And Bob, if I were the judge, I'd be furious. I would do what the judge started with John Lewin. Lower your voice. Do not yell at me. And Lewin can't help
notified that the jury has reached verdicts on counts 1 and 2, and I believe the judicial assistant Alex has confirmed that, yes?
We were told they had a verdict, Your Honor. That's correct.
Both sides ready for the jury?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're on the record with all jurors present, all parties and counsel are present. Juror 9, you are the foreperson?
Yes.
And it is true that the jury has reached verdicts?
Yes, Your
On
Honor.
both counts?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you have the verdict forms with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, could you give those to Deputy Bennett? All right, what we're going to do, folks, is Deputy Bennett is going to give the verdict forms to juror number 1. Juror number 1, I want you to look at the verdict forms, and I'm going to want to know whether these verdict forms reflect your true and correct verdicts. Juror 2, I'd like you to look over her shoulder so you can review the verdict forms. And I want to know from you whether these are your true and correct verdicts. Once I've heard from both of you, give the verdict forms to juror number 3. Juror 3, look at the verdict forms. Juror 4, look over her shoulder. So ultimately, I'm going to want to hear from all 12 of you whether these verdict forms reflect your individual true and correct verdicts. Everybody understand? All right. You got it? Put these two in the notes. Juror number 1, are those your true and correct verdicts? Juror number 2?
Yes.
Juror 3 and 4? Juror 5 and 6? Juror 5, are those your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror 6?
Yes.
All right, let's get the verdict forms to Juror 7. Juror 8, look over your shoulder. Juror number 7, those are your true and correct verdicts? Juror 7?
Yes.
Juror 8?
Yes.
9 and 10? Juror 9?
Yes.
Juror 10?
Yes.
11 and 12. Juror 11?
Yes.
Juror 12?
Yes.
All right, all jurors have stated that the verdict forms reflect their individual true and correct verdicts. Alex, read the verdict.
Yes, Your Honor. Los Angeles Superior Court, County of Los Angeles. People of the State of California versus Rakim Mayers, case number BA 508142-01. We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Rakim Mayers, not guilty of the
Not against the audience. Or not against the audience.
Hold it down, hold it down. Verdict has to be read on count.
Yes, sir. I'll repeat again. We, the jury, above entitled action, find the defendant, Rakim Mayers, not guilty of the semi-automatic firearm in violation of Penal Code Section 245, Section B. A felony is charging count one of the information this 18th day of February 2025, jury seat number 9, 4-person.
All right.
Title for the cause. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Rakim Mayers, not guilty of the crime of assault with a firearm in violation of Penal Code Section 245, Section B. A felony is charging count 2 of the information this 18th day of February 2025, juror seat number 9, 4-person.
During this trial, I watched you periodically. You did what we asked of you from the very beginning, which is to give both sides a fair trial, pay attention, use your common sense, apply the law, and base your verdict on the evidence. I know you took extensive notes, and you took this as seriously as any jury could. We cannot have jury trials without folks like you. So you certainly have my gratitude. I want to extend to you my best wishes. Again, thank you. The admonition to not discuss the case no longer applies. You can talk about the case with anybody you want to, or nobody if you don't want to. Alex has your certificates of completion. You can take your juror badges with you. Thank you again. You are excused.
Everybody remain seated in the public. We're going to let the jurors walk out first.